I believe the phrase is blindsided. Where did it come from?
So yeah, we've known each other for like a decade. I guess that for people who don't know, like you played in a band called Unisef, which was one of the first local punk bands that I heard. Once I moved to Boise, I heard y'all on the MySpace, and I always thought Tyler was the singer because he was the front of all the pictures, and he had.
You know how many people tell me that?
Yeah,
and I did that on purpose because he looked way cooler than I did.
Well,
so I was like,
he had like this giant. He had like this giant mohawk and studded jacket and stuff, and
yep.
Yeah, it was cool. And then we met after Unisef had broken up, I believe, and
yep.
And I right before I met you, I had bought your second album at Red Letter Bookstore, and I
that's right. I forgot.
I bought it, and so I played that show, and I was really surprised when you came up to me and you were like, "Hey, like, I like your stuff." When we started talking, I realized that like, oh yeah, like I have your CD in my car right now, and and yeah,
that's cool.
So yeah, you told the story online, and I'm not trying to retell it when you already did that, but just giving context to our friendship. And then almost immediately you started offering to record things for me, and I was very fresh on recording. So like I was very fresh on, like, I hadn't really recorded much of my acoustic stuff. I'd just done some demos that on my computer that I was passing out on blank CDs. And
right, that's right. Yeah. I think that's why I invited you over. So I was like,
oh, really?
I can make it sound better than that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember. It was a long time
ago. I think you did, but I don't think I ever used them because I'm a jerk. But yeah, then you were like, hey, I have this band, False Idle. And so Seth here invited me to some of my first acoustic shows. You posted that picture of me playing years and years and years ago. And that was, I believe, the first False Idle show with Tyler as well. It was the first time you guys played as a 4-piece.
Yeah, because he had gone to school and then came back. And that was like our reintroduction of Tyler, post Unisef, now False Idle. So yeah, that was cool.
And then years later, you got me onto this split. So
yes, many years later.
So you're just responsible for my entire career as an acoustic artist,
right?
Essentially.
On. How come you're not on my label then? The heck.
You didn't ask me.
You should be making me the moolah.
Well, technically, I am on your label now.
Oh, but I'm on yours too.
Works out really well, huh? All right, so I'm basically just gonna try to make you talk to me.
Good luck.
You need to be more like Dennis, okay? You just need to. Yeah. You need to just. Talk
Everybody
about
should be more like Dennis. Dennis is good. He's a good guy.
Dennis is good. He has great hair.
He does, right?
I'm
trying to get all mine looking good in the mirror, and it's like, no, just forget it.
I wear a beanie because that's where my hair is best. Okay, so if you go back through the Unisef and the False Idle catalogs, I have never heard you with an acoustic guitar before the song Threat.
Oh, okay.
So did you play acoustic guitar very often before then? Did you have any experience like wanting to do the kind of stuff you're doing now before that, or was it always just like kind of secondary, something you had in the back of your mind that you could do?
Yeah, for the most part, I only did punk. But my first experience kind of recording acoustic and getting into acoustic is Unisef started as a solo project, hence the name. So one time, about 2 or 3 years into the project, my mom and grandma came to visit me here in Boise from the East Coast. And my grandma came out to the studio one day. She's like, play me a song, one of your songs. And I'm like, all I have is punk. I don't have a band. Like, I don't even know how to do that. And so I genuinely couldn't play her a song. And when she left to go back home, like that haunted me. I was like, what the, like, I want my grandma to hear a song. So after that, I put out a Unisef split that was half punk, half acoustic. Like I recorded, I think 3, maybe 4 songs, or just put some I'd already done, punk, solo project, drum machine, bass. They sounded terrible. But then I also did acoustic versions of the same songs. So that was kind of like my first experience doing acoustic music. But even that didn't last long, because once that happened, I played Jolt's Internet Cafe shortly after that. I don't know if you know that place or not.
It's not Jolts and Juice.
Nope. It's right in Meridian. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so Tyler had also found Unisef, the solo project,
Meridian,
online
Idaho,
on MySpace.
Everyone.
Yeah, Idaho. Tyler had found Unisef on MySpace also, and we kind of chatted a little bit. And he came to that Jolts show where I played an acoustic set of Unisef. We met, we talked. He was like the first person I knew who liked MXPX, and we knew a lot of the same bands. And then I was like, hey, you should play in my band. And he's like, hey, I know this guy Reese. He's a good drummer. And that's when Unisef, the whole band, the full band, kind of started. So at that point, acoustic was over.
And that's like 2005, 2006?
Yeah, probably 06, I'm guessing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then there was one time, so after Unisef kind of split, no, it was mid-Unisef band. Tyler left to go to school, and I wrote one song that was an acoustic, kind of a very Justin Saney acoustic kind of song called Get Back Up. And I recorded that, but I never put it out. And then that was it. And then Unisef went back full band, went on tour with FBS, split up, False Idle started. And then I really didn't do anything acoustic. I did Threat, like you said, the song Threat on the album Threat. But even that was still full band. And then in 2014, when False Idle kind of started to fizzle, because everybody started having babies and getting married.
Except you, because you already had babies and were already married.
Yeah, except I was already an old man, so I was just here. I was like, well, I might as well buy an acoustic guitar. And that's when I kind of changed direction. So, cool. 2014. Yep.
And you guys had done the, was it the California or Bust EP before that? Is that not what it's called?
We did. That's right. Yeah, that was just, so we were trying to get out to Thumper Punk Night down in, that wasn't Bellflower. It's just south
Thumper
of
Punk
LA.
Records is was your label. It was False Idle's
It was
label.
False Idle's record label. And we were trying to get down there, and we tried to raise some money. And so we just did like, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe 6 False Idle songs as an acoustic band.
Right.
I forgot about that.
And they sound really good too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Was that your first project. Was any of that stuff like instrumental in you getting, like any of those songs instrumental in you getting into this, or was it like some like into this kind of a project? Because it's not, I mean, I don't know if it's not very common for someone to go from like kind of like a street punky kind of vibe to like a more mellow, kind of more Tony Sly-ish kind of vibe. I feel like it's either the road from that stuff is usually over to like really like kind of gritty folk punk. And then like more skate punky guys like myself, I guess, or pop punky guys would like move more toward the Frank Turner kind of stuff. So you kind of jumped the tracks, I guess, is kind of what.
Yeah. I discovered Tony Sly kind of towards the end of that. And I don't know if it was age or just, I was kind of over being in a band a lot too. Like I was trying to figure out what to do, what I could do as a solo artist. And I really it was a conscious effort to change direction. Like I want to, like when you write punk stuff, you're angry, you're yelling, you're passionate and just, But I really wanted to challenge myself. Like it was really like, I'm challenging myself to wear my heart on my sleeve, like tell personal stories, like really go that direction. So at first I didn't know if it was even going to work. Like it was totally, can I do this? So I did it and I liked it.
Well, sick. Yeah, and your solo stuff is like very vulnerable, and I think that your writing's always been vulnerable. But I think that your solo stuff is particularly emotionally vulnerable for you. I was listening to it today. I listened to a lot of your stuff today in preparation for this.
Nice.
But yeah, you have really let your hair down, so to speak, with this newer stuff. And so so finding Tony Sly and like wanting to change direction, being over a band, those are the things that kind of catalysted, I don't know the word, like and what you do now as Sef Idle. And you kept the name Sef Idle because I'm assuming because people knew you as Sef Idle or Sef from False Idle.
Right. Yeah, I guess once I established a musician name, I was like, I might as well just go with it.
Yeah, totally. Okay, and then so I want to ask you how, before we get into your songs, like how did the split come about?
Well,
because you are the one. You are the one to blame.
I am. Yeah, I'll take the blame on that. But me and you had talked about. Well, we'd thrown around the idea of doing a split for a long time, right? Sure. And I could never get you to do anything because you don't ever commit to anything. Well, you do, but kind of. Anyway, what was it? So you moved to New York. I think we were talking on the phone once, and we just, let's do this. That's kind of what happened. And then you suggested, how would you feel about getting, someone else on the split? And I had just met Dennis like a week prior, and he was telling me about how he's trying to get more local and do acoustic stuff. And I thought it was a complete long shot, and he would laugh at me if I asked him to be on it. But I was like, well, we should ask Dennis. And I sent him a message, and like 30 seconds later, he's like, yeah, that'd be fun. I was like, okay, cool. And then I had played an acoustic show with Russ one time. Like, I knew Russ from Skittish Hits. Like, Russ is awesome. And I played an acoustic show with him once, and I saw a side of Russ that I had, like, never seen before. Like, he was just this... It was like this hilariously morbid acoustic stuff that we played at a Punk Monday night at the Liquid in Boise. And you had moved to New York and were living with Russ. And I think you suggested that. And like the second you mentioned it, I was like, yeah, Russ for sure.
Okay.
So then, once you told me you and Russ would do it. I don't remember that,
but thanks for remembering these things that I don't.
And I got and I got Dennis on it. Then I just harassed you for the next year and a half to make it happen.
And here we are.
Here we are. Was it almost 2 years later?
Yeah, for people listening, I am the worst with my own music. Like I put a lot into this label, and I put my music kind of gets put on the back burner, and unfortunately that meant 3 other people's project got put on the back burner as well this time. But you guys are really nice, and you kept me on. So thank you.
This is close.
Yeah. So let's get into your songs. So you go second after Dennis.
Right.
Your first song is called Blindsided. It's the single that you released a few weeks ago on Indie Vision Music.
Yep.
You did a music video for it. It was shot very, very well. I was very, very impressed with the cinematography of your music video.
That was my daughter, by the way.
Abby kills it.
Right? She's one of those people.
She's just good at everything. Like,
yep.
Great musician.
She had all these, like, I came in with the idea, like I had the vision for the video. And like when I first had the vision for the video, I was like, we have to do this at the Shredder. Like I first saw it, and so that all worked out really well. And no one really showed any interest in videoing it. So then Abby said, I'll do it. I was like, heck yeah, let's do it. So I had an idea, and she came in, and she's like, let's do it this angle. What about this? Let's try this. And she threw all these ideas. I was like, you're awesome. So yeah, the video turned out great. She did a great job. And I love the video.
Yeah, she totally did.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I actually wrote in my notes that you've always been a vulnerable writer, like I already said.
Right.
But I
Right.
felt like this is a song that, well, for one, the song really deals with the experience of like kind of like your perception of someone being, or your perception of something, I guess, or people in general, um, kind of falling short to reality. And I think that that's something that most of us have experienced. I remember I were playing a show years ago, and for with a band I looked up to, and the singer was um, supposedly sober, but on stage he like definitely wasn't, and it was just like a very, it's like those moments of like it seems like it's about those moments of like um, when your expectations of people in general don't, or someone, whatever, don't, when reality hits and you realize
Yeah.
that everyone is much more complex and layered than you think they are.
Right. It's an unexpected heartbreak song is what it is. Right. Like when something totally catches you off guard that you didn't expect, and it's just like, where in the world did that just come from? Mm-hmm. Like, what do I even do with that? Is basically what the song is. It was obviously drawn from an experience, but I think as I started to write it, I realized that it wasn't just a single experience that it was about. Like I kind of started drawing from all these other experiences, and I don't want to pinpoint a certain experience, because I think it can be like the way you explained it was slightly different than I would have put it. So it's kind of cool just to even hear how it may come across to someone else. So yeah, it's just a song about being caught off guard.
Death of the artist, man. It's death of the author. Like, it's the idea of your intention for a song might be perceived completely differently by someone else, and might, so what is a song? Like, what is a song really about? Who's to say, kind of a thing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, something I noticed about this song was, like I said, you've always been like a really vulnerable writer, and especially once you started doing your solo stuff. But I feel like this is one where kind of your more like not straightforward, but like your more intellectual thoughts kind of meet your emotional thoughts, or your intellectual language meets your emotional language. You're talking about like your perception of humanity, your concept of innocence. Doubting that, but then it's met with a lot of emotion. And I think that's
it's just like, it's so surprising how the world in general, or certain things about the world can just infiltrate someone or something and just completely shift life. And it was just thoughts of confusion and not knowing what was going on.
Totally. I love this. This is you're the only person on this split that didn't start with their most energetic song.
Yeah. I wondered if anyone would pick up on that, but yeah, totally.
Yeah. The rest of us all started with our fastest songs and our most driving songs. You chose to put this first. I think that was a really good decision on your part.
Cool.
And a really, but kind of an interesting one. Like, why did you do that?
I don't really know. I mean, in general, that's a stupid reason, but I love the tone of the guitar when that first couple of strums hit. Like, I did all the mixing on these songs, and like that was something that I never changed. Like, I heard that tone and it was perfect, and that was like almost my favorite part of everything I recorded. And I almost wanted the initial listen of my stuff to be that first chord on that tone. I don't know. It was just like, I loved it. I was like, I love this. I want other people to hear this first, and then we'll go from there.
Love that. Well, I think you made the right choice. What really quick? What before we move on to the Bellflower? But what's the instrument in the bridge?
The clarinet.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's a clarinet.
Oh,
So when I first demoed the song, like I was trying to figure out what to even do in that part. So I'm playing through all my MIDI stuff. I have my little cheap keyboard, and I'm going through my VST instruments, and the clarinet instrument sounded really cool. But I was like, what'd be even cooler is if I had a real clarinet on there. So I threw out this Facebook post, like, do I know any clarinet players? Like, ha ha ha, like I'm going to know a clarinet player. And it just so happens that a good friend of mine is a classically trained clarinet player. And he's like, yeah, I could totally do it. So he came over and he killed it. And I think that clarinet just sounds so good on that song. So Luke Manchester, thank you very much.
Thank you, Luke. That's a very. Did you know he was a classically trained clarinet player before?
Like I knew he was a classically trained musician. He can play everything. He plays piano, guitar, he sings. Like he can do it. He's one of those multi-instrumental geniuses. But I had no idea he played a clarinet. So that was awesome.
Cool. All right. Well, next song, Bellflower. So this is your most. This is your energetic song. This is the one that could fit in the False Idle catalog if the instruments were flipped around.
Right.
Chris Parks played on it from Playdate. He played on all of our songs except for Russ's. Or he played on at least one song by everyone except for Russ's. So why the name Bellflower?
It's a town. It's a town in Southern California.
Okay.
So I think it was late 2018 or 2019. It was Thumper Punk Records night again. It was kind of as I was transitioning out of, because Thumper Punk Records actually put out my first 2 EPs as Sef Idle, the acoustic stuff. So I went down to play a Thumper Punk Records night, which he does once a year. Cool. And I had been on Thumper Punk since 2010. Like False Idle was the first band to release anything on that label. So here we are. So it must have been 2019 because it was coming up on their 10-year anniversary. And through the studio, through the label, through David, through everything, I had made a lot of friends on the label and just within the scene that False Idle was part of. And I went down to play that show, and the camera just went away. Suck.
This is amazing.
Dang, it's back. There's back. Okay, cool. All right, so I went down there to play that show, and it was one of the best nights I've ever had. Like, it wasn't a huge show. There wasn't like hundreds or thousands of people there. There's maybe 50 people there, but they were all from Thumper Punk bands or supporters, people who have like been super encouraging about False Idle and Thumper Punk Records. And I played an acoustic set. Everyone was way stoked. I was stoked on everyone who played. And it was just one of those nights where you just felt like it was, it's so cliche, but you felt like you were with family. Mm-hmm. And, it's very rare that I get to hang out with these people. And we just hung out all night. And after the show, we went out to Denny's for like 3 hours. And it was like one of the best experiences I had ever. So when I got back to Boise, I was like, I don't ever want to forget that night. So I just started writing it down. And that's exactly what that song's about. Just being in that environment with people that you just have that connection with. And that can be here in Boise. That can be anywhere. Like I see people at shows all the time here who, when I see them, I just get, oh, yes, so good to see you kind of stuff. And it's like that whole experience, just playing shows and being around people you just really enjoy being around in the music scene. But it was all obviously based around that specific show in Bellflower, California. So that's where the name came from.
Well, cool. How did your relationship with Chris begin?
Chris Parks?
Yeah.
I was selling a guitar pedal on, I think it was Craigslist. It was either Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. I'm pretty sure it was Craigslist because I don't use Facebook Marketplace. I was selling a guitar pedal, and I met, and he wanted to buy it, so we met up, and it was just a brief interaction, and we realized, hey, we both kind of know each other in the punk scene. That's cool. And then, we became friends on Facebook, but we didn't really talk much at first. And then what happened? I think every once in a while we kind of reached out because we both knew we liked bands like Face to Face and Bouncing Souls, like just that pop punk kind of simple 3-piece style thing. And we started talking about it, and neither of us were playing in a punk band at the time. And then we started jamming. We're like, hey, let's just start a punk cover band just for fun. Like, because I didn't want to do anything serious with a band again. I just wanted to have fun and play music. And we both liked the same stuff. So we just started jamming and hanging out.
Cool.
Yeah. And now we're working on an EP of original stuff, so much for the cover stuff. Yeah, Sean from Up and Adams playing bass in it now too. So
what a guy.
So yeah.
Well, sick. That's great. Okay, cool. I'm excited to hear that. Do you guys have a name for it yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
We put out a single like a year ago. I don't know if you heard it.
What? The three of you?
Chris and Seth. No, it was just us two at the time.
Yeah. When it is Sean playing bass?
Yeah.
Cool.
He's so good. He's such a good bass player.
Good. He's one of the most intelligent writers.
He's
I've
a
ever
cool
met.
dude too.
Yeah. Has he shown? Actually, I shouldn't. Actually, I'll ask you this after the interview. I was going to talk about his crazy cool car, but I'll ask you after the interview.
The Tesla?
Yeah. Has he shown?
Yeah, he made the first practice. After that, he's like, "You guys want to go drive my car?" I was like, "Okay." I was like, "I don't want to. I'm not driving your car." He's like, "No, you should drive it." Holy cow, that thing is insane.
Did he show you how it drives itself?
Yeah, he shows everything. It was cool. Yeah. They went to 0 to 60 in like, I don't know, 2.5 seconds or something. That thing was ridiculous.
So bonkers. It's so nuts. What a guy. You'd never expect it from him. He's like,
right.
You're run of the mill, like political, like punk dude. And then he's just like, yeah, he's a man of many, many different, I don't know what the word would be. Just, he's got a lot of different. Everyone has a lot of different facets to their personalities, but his are very surprising. So,
yeah.
And we love him. We love Sean.
Yeah.
But he's not here, so we're gonna keep talking about you. When the Ship Comes In. This is a Bob Dylan cover. You could have done
Bob Dylan.
When the Ship Goes Down by Cypress Hill, but you chose to do When the Ship Comes In by Bob Dylan. Yep. I didn't even know you liked Bob Dylan. I thought you only liked Rancid and Anti-Flag. So
nice.
Okay, you didn't know either.
No. So when we first started talking about this, we were like, all right, two originals and one cover. Mm-hmm. And we're like, let's make the cover cool. Everybody has to do a diva song, like a pop diva song. So that was kind of the plan. You and Dennis are the only two that stuck to it. I was going to do an Adele song, and I remember I demoed it and sent it to you, and you said that sounded pretty good. And I was like, I don't know, I don't want to do an Adele song. And then Russ kind of totally went off the path, and he sent me a demo of a Broadway musical song that he was going to do. I was like, that sounded so cool. And I was super relieved that I didn't have to do an Adele song anymore. So I just started looking around, just kind of shuffling through stuff I never listened to. And a Bob Dylan song came on. It wasn't the one I did. It was The Times They Are A-Changin'. And I had never heard the old school Bob Dylan stuff with just him and an acoustic guitar, harmonica. Like I really didn't know. Like I knew who Bob Dylan was, but I didn't know Bob Dylan. And that song came on. I was like, I love this sound. Like this is beautiful. But the song that I was hearing had a harmonica solo between like every verse. I was like, I don't know what I would even do with that. So I immediately bought the album and just started listening to it. And then when The Ship Comes In came on, I loved that song, and there was only one harmonica solo. It's like I could do something with this one. So I went with that song because I just immediately fell in love with that album when I heard it.
Cool. It will, without a doubt, be my dad's favorite song on the split.
Nice.
If he ever listens to it. I think this is your best vocal take ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you. Cool.
Yeah, I think your vocals are amazing on this song. Who did the harmonica?
So at the time we were recording this, I was recording my stuff for the split. I was also recording in my studio an Americana artist local here by the name of Connor J. And when he came in and did his album, he was, he had the harmonica and playing guitar. He's awesome. He's so good. So when I heard this song and I heard him play the harmonica, I was like, I got to get Connor to play harmonica on this song. So he jumped in again. So yeah, I got Luke on Blindsided. I got Chris on Bellflower, and I got Connor on the cover song. So I had a lot of help.
Cool.
But yeah, he killed it.
Well, hell yeah. Was there anything like lyrically that drew you into this at all, or?
Well, I think the song "Times They Are Changing" really sucked me in lyrically. Okay. Like I was like this song. It was one of those songs that like when you first hear it, it gives you the chills, and you're like, "Wow," right? Mm-hmm. So that's when I bought the album, and I don't think there's necessarily anything about the song I did that lyrically caught my attention, except for the writing itself, and that it wasn't like a verse chorus song. It was like 7 verses. That's what it felt like. It wasn't really, but I just loved the way the song was structured, and it was just really cool.
Cool, man. Well, what's next for you after we do the split? I mean, you've been working on this for like 2 or 3 years, and I've just pushed you back and back and back. So now that
2 years,
now that I've finally released you, what are you?
I really want to put out a full length. I have yet to put out a full length of the acoustic stuff, and that's the goal. That's the next goal. I've put out a few singles even over the last 2 years while we're kind of waiting for the split to finish, and I've kind of experimented with like different song types and kind of figured out, one like straightforward grungy, what a punk guy would do as an acoustic song, and then I kind of went the really produced kind of cool thing, but it didn't turn out so cool. But anyway, so I kind of know the direction I want to go with an album, and that's the goal.
Cool. Well, sweet. You have a label now too, and I should have asked you about this earlier, but talk about your label.
Simple Records. Currently
Simpul.
Simpul. It's a kind of a step off from the studio, the Simple Studio, which I've been doing for 10 years.
You run in your garage.
Yeah, a little 8x10 room in my garage.
Very sick.
It's huge. I was recording a local guy named Kid Catapult last year, 2019. And at the end of the process, he said something along the lines of, I can't wait for you to start a record label so I can make you tons of money. And we both just kind of laughed about it, and it was la la la. And then, a month or 2 went by, and I was like, you know what? I could try. And then we put out his full length, and that was a lot of fun. And then I just started putting out singles of mine. So when we first started the Acoustic Split idea, the label didn't exist. Like I thought we would put it out on either Hidden Home or shop for a different label. But one day, Dennis had me meet him at a local music shop because he was trying out acoustic guitars, and he wanted me to kind of play it while he listened. And he introduced me to the person who was showing him the guitars as the guy whose label was going to put out the split. And that was like the first time anyone had even said that. I don't know if it was a mistake or he thought that or whatever. And I was like, wow, yeah. I mean, I've already done the Kid Catapult thing. I did a couple singles of my own. It's like, why not put out this split? Like, I'm in. And then I started talking to you, and we kind of decided to split it up and got other people involved and people of punk rock. So stoked that they got in on this and they're putting out those vinyl.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, so the label's pretty small. I'm still fairly new. And then we got a new guy, Tuck, who's about to release an EP. Super cool guy, like just smooth vocal, just
He's
chill.
very good.
Super good. Yeah, totally different than anything me and Kid Catapult do, but it's a great addition to the label. So yeah, I'm super excited. It's a different kind of thing. I'm not sure 100% what direction we're going. I think I'm gonna stick to local acoustic stuff, mostly just online. And I think my direction is I really like the idea of helping out kind of new artists or artists who haven't really done much or put out much music, or don't have money to go to a studio. Like I want to leverage my experience in the studio and what I can do there and kind of help just people get their music out that way, because you can put stuff out digitally and it doesn't really cost you anything. It's the studio that typically costs a lot of money. So if I can contribute that to an artist who's really good and really wants to put out music but doesn't have the cash to drop a couple grand at a studio, like I think that's a cool concept. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's sustainable or if it's a good idea, but it's what I'm doing.
I mean, what's sustainable when it's in your garage? You know, like.
Right. Exactly. Like I have no overhead. Like I own everything here and I just click a mouse and put it out on Spotify. You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There you go. And so you're handling CDs for the split. We're handling tapes. And people of punk rock up in Canada, those guys are handling the vinyl. And now we are on the same, technically we are releasing something on the same label as Zebrahead. And so I think
And 10-foot pole.
And 10-foot pole and Body Jar, but primarily Zebrahead. So I think that we have made it. I think that this split is going to be really good. I'm really glad that you put it together.
Did you say we've made it? Did we make it? Have we officially
finally
made it?
Finally made it. Is there anything else that you would like to plug right now or talk about? Or is False Idle doing a reunion album?
No.
Okay. Is Unisef doing a COVID live stream?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, cool. Thanks for. Where can people find your label? How about that?
SimpleRecords.com or the usual Facebook, Instagram /Simple Records.
Okay. Are you guys on TikTok yet?
No. I keep asking like my daughter and my son and my young friends if I should get on TikTok, and they all laugh at me and say don't do it. So I'm taking their advice and avoiding TikTok.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. As a boomer, it's probably a bad idea.
All right, cool. Well, thanks. Thanks a lot, man.
What am I supposed to do with where I'm at?